Hello, and welcome to this episode of Just the Two of Us, where I talk about relationships. My name is Keren Kodat-Daub. I'm a couples and marriage therapist and a psychotherapist. I work in Israel and on Zoom. My private practice is in Har Hader. Today, I want to kind of answer a question that I was asked about fighting in front of the children. I was asked, what do I think about fighting in front of the children? What should the children see? What they shouldn't see? And I want to start with kind of referring to a little bit of a different angle of this issue, and that is what discussions can we have in front of the kids? And we want what kind of the overall leading assumption that I work with is that we as parents should protect our kids from getting information that is not age appropriate and worrying about stuff that isn't they need not worry about. So financial issues are things that our kids shouldn't be exposed to. We can teach them the value of money or how to save money, but I don't believe they should be exposed to all our financial issues. They shouldn't be exposed to obviously to sexual issues. And I don't really believe they should be into the depth of our relationships with the complexity of our relationships with our in-laws. I believe that they should understand and respect our family, even if there are issues there. We shouldn't expose them to any violence or abusive relationships if there's a pathology within that relationship with the extended family. But they should understand the importance of and respect. And respect and understanding are things that they learn from us as we lead by example. And that's where I want to refer to the question that I was asked about fighting in front of the kids. So I believe that the kids can be exposed to different opinions. I mean, the parents shouldn't show up as always agreeing about everything. I mean, there could be discussions at the dinner table about subjects that we deal with or that we think differently. It could be political issues. It could be like municipal politics, and they can see different agendas given out by parents, but I think that the kids shouldn't really be exposed to differences in opinions when it comes to the way that we educate our kids. And I'll give an example. If I believe the kids should be in bed by 8:30 and my partner thinks they should be in bed by 8:30, the kids shouldn't be a part of this discussion between us. We should be having this discussion after they're asleep or when we're out of the house. So that's an issue that we should kind of consider, that which means, I mean, the principle here is that when we come to our kids with a decision that we've made, we should present a united front because the kids need to see us as a parental unit that conveys the same message and not mixed messages, because the kids need clarity. The children need us to be very clear about the boundaries, about our expectations. And we need to show up like that for them. So fighting in front of the kids can be about arguing in front of the kids can be about things that we disagree about, or that we're angry or upset about at our partners, that aren't to do with the way they discipline or deal with the kids. However, if this does happen, if it does occur that that I feel like my partner did something wrong with one of the kids, and I can't hold back, I can't let it go on like this, I need to step in, then I should be doing it respectfully. And also, I should take a deep breath and kind of create eye contact and kind of try to move my partner away from the situation with a child so that I can discuss it with him in a different location. If that doesn't happen, then we would want to talk to have this argument in a way that we keep in mind that our kids are listening. And even if I don't know if he can do it, I need to be very mindful to the fact that my kids are listening, and I need to stay respectful, to convey my message in a way that I keep my calm as much as possible. And if I notice that I can't do it, then I'll need to ask for a timeout and continue this conversation at a later time, because my kids shouldn't be exposed to that part of our relationship. Not because I necessarily have something to hide, even though I do think some things in a parent's relationship as a couple our kids shouldn't be privy to, because it's not age appropriate and it's private. But also, if I'm looking at it through the lens of kids, they can't really grasp the weight of this fight on their personal safety and security, on their sense of self, and how it applies and affects the way they look at life. Because our stability as a couple has great effect on their sense of safety and stability. So we always need to keep that in mind when we think, what are we exposing our kids to? And we often, if our kids see us fighting, they hardly ever see us making up. And then they can see the cloud that's between us, and they can see the heaviness of the emotional energy, but they don't necessarily see the lightheartedness and us showing up for each other. So we need to take that and kind of notice that and remember that when we're having a disagreement in front of the kids, which means that I do believe that we can show different opinions, but when we get into this kind of fighting mode, that's where we need to be mindful and not do that in front of our kids. And it is important to say to each other, we need to talk about this later, and then remember and pick up on that conversation later and kind of say in the evening, we need to discuss this more. This is something that I did when you said that to our 5-year-old. I didn't agree that this is the way that we should talk about it. And having this complex conversation, saying, what did you think, and why do you think we should? Let's go back to the beginning and show and kind of remember the example of 8 or 8:30 bedtime. Why is it important? What makes it so important for you? You're insisting on this time. How can we do that together? Is there a way to compromise, and kind of understanding each other's point of view And saying that, I also want to remind you that before we get into an argument, we need to understand exactly what our partner is saying. If you're saying that 8:30 is the time that you want the kids to be asleep and therefore they need to be in bed by 8 o'clock, that's a different conversation than saying I need them out of my hair and I can't handle anymore. And that's a complex conversation to have and kind of to understand each other's point of view. And understanding doesn't mean agreeing. It's not the same thing. So if I understand your point of view, I can still disagree with you, but I understand you better. Therefore, I can explain my side better. So that's kind of a couple of thoughts about fighting in front of the kids. And I will say that sometimes when it does happen, we should have a conversation with the kids about what they were exposed to afterwards. Yes, mommy and daddy were angry. We got upset and we didn't quite speak the way we should, but we apologized to each other and we talked it out, and now we're friends again. For example, just not leaving the kids hanging there, not knowing what's coming next. And then kind of thinking together, how can we have disagreements better, and how can we show up that sometimes we don't agree, but it's okay that mommy thinks this way and daddy thinks another way. But also remembering that we need to show up for the kids as a united front. So thank you for listening and watching. And if you enjoyed it, then you're very welcome to share and look out for the rest of the episodes of just the two of us. And if there's a subject that I haven't touched upon and you'd like me to speak about or other questions, just DM me. Bye-bye.